Right now, something inside you knows your life could be different. Not next Monday, not after another video, another playlist, another promise you whisper to yourself at midnight. Right now, in this very moment, there is a version of you that is capable of far more than what you are currently living. The gap between who you are and who you are capable of becoming is not filled with talent. It is not filled with luck, with opportunity, or with the right circumstances finally arriving. It is filled with habits, daily, non-negotiable, relentless habits. The version of you that scrolls for hours without intention, that delays for weeks while telling yourself you are planning, that keeps saying, "I will start soon," that version has to end. Not gradually, not politely, it ends today, because the Stoics understood something that most people spend an entire lifetime avoiding. You are at war, not with the world outside you, not with the people who doubt you or the circumstances that challenge you. You are at war with the version of yourself that keeps choosing comfort over growth, reaction over reason, noise over silence. And the only weapon that wins that war is a disciplined life, built one habit at a time every single day. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled the most powerful empire in the ancient world, did not wake up and simply choose to be great. He trained himself. Every morning, before the weight of an empire demanded his attention, he sat with his thoughts and forged his mind. He wrote to himself not for posterity, but for accountability. He asked himself each day whether he had lived according to his values, whether he had been the person he was capable of becoming. He did not ask the world to give him something. He demanded something of himself. What follows are 10 habits, not tips, not suggestions you can try when you feel motivated. These are the habits that forge people who cannot be stopped, people who have decided, at a fundamental level, that they will not settle for a life smaller than the one they are capable of living. Every one of these habits comes from Stoic philosophy, tested not in lecture halls or human beings have ever faced. Battlefields, prisons, exile, loss, and the relentless pressure of living in full awareness of mortality. These habits work, but they only work if you do. The first habit is to work on your mind every single day without exception. Your mind is your empire. Everything you will ever build, achieve, or become originates there, in the quality of your thinking, the clarity of your focus, the discipline of your attention. Most people train their bodies and completely neglect the one tool they use for every single decision they make. They scroll through hours of content designed to keep them passive, then wonder why their life feels like it is happening to them, rather than being built by them. The Stoics had a word for this, the discipline of perception. Every day you must actively shape how you see the world, how you interpret events, how you speak to yourself. Replace the question, "Why is this happening to me?" with, "What is this teaching me?" Read something that challenges you, write something that reveals you. Observe your own pattern that reveals you. Observe your own patterns without judgment. Your mind either works for you or against you. There is no neutral ground. Feed it with purpose. The second habit is to build physical discipline before the world wakes up. Winning the morning is not a wellness trend. It is an ancient discipline. When you rise before the demands of the day arrive, when you move your body and honor the commitment you made to yourself the night before, something shifts in you that no amount of motivation can replicate. You begin to trust yourself. You prove to the most skeptical audience you will ever face, your own mind, that you are someone who keeps their word. Marcus Aurelius wrote about the temptation of the comfortable bed, the pull to stay, to delay, to tell yourself you will begin when conditions are better. He rejected it not because it was easy, but because he understood that every small act of discipline in the morning trains the mind for every larger act of discipline the day will demand. This is not about becoming a different person. This is about someone your future self will recognize and respect. The third habit is to master your reactions. Between what happens to you and what you do about it, there is a space. Most people do not know that space exists. They have been conditioned by a world of instant responses, constant notifications, and the relentless demand to have an opinion about everything immediately. The result is a life ruled not by reason but by reflex, reacting before thinking, speaking before understanding, choosing based on emotion before values can even enter the room. Epictetus taught that it is not events that disturb you, but your judgments about events. Someone criticizes your work, traffic makes you late, a plan falls apart. None of these things have inherent power over your state of mind. You assign that power when you react without pause. The practice is simple but not easy. Before you respond to anything that provokes you, stop. Count to 5, breathe. Ask yourself whether the response you are about to give reflects the person you are working to become. the person you are working to become. The warrior who controls his reactions is far more formidable than one who simply reacts with force. The fourth habit is to ruthlessly cut what does not serve your growth. Every yes you give to distraction is a no given to your future. This is not a metaphor. Every hour spent in meaningless scrolling, every conversation that pulls you toward complaint and small thinking, every relationship that consistently makes you feel less than you are, each of these is a real cost, paid with the only currency that cannot be earned back: time and attention. The Stoics were clear on this. Seneca wrote that a man who does not know which port he is sailing toward will find no wind favorable. Clarity of purpose requires ruthless elimination of everything that blurs that purpose. This does not mean coldness. It does not mean cutting every person who has ever disappointed you. It means becoming intentional. Look honestly at the three things consuming the most of your time and energy right now. Are they building you toward the life you want? Are they feeding the life you are trying to leave? Remove one today, not someday, today. The fifth habit is to move in silence. Build in private. Let the results make the noise. Most people announce goals before they have done the work to deserve them. They share plans before results, dreams before discipline, intentions before actions. And the brain, in its extraordinary ability to reward feeling without doing, registers the social approval as if the achievement itself had already happened. The drive dissolves. The Stoics understood silence as power. Marcus Aurelius spent years building an empire not through declarations but through daily, unannounced choices made when no one was watching and no recognition was coming. The strongest structure you will ever build is the one no one knew was being constructed until it was already standing. Stop sharing the process. Start protecting it. The work you do in silence, without an audience, without applause, without anyone knowing, that is the work that changes you. The sixth habit changes you. The sixth habit is to embrace obstacles as the fuel that moves you forward. Every person who has ever built anything worth having has encountered resistance. The road without obstacles does not lead anywhere worth going. This is not optimism. This is Stoic physics. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the impediment to action advances action, that the thing standing in the way becomes the way, if you are willing to meet it with that understanding. The ordinary response to an obstacle is to stop, to complain, to look for another path that avoids the difficulty. The trained Stoic response is to ask, what can this teach me? What strength does this situation require that I have not yet fully developed? What would it mean for my character if I met this not with avoidance but with full engagement? The obstacle in front of you right now, whatever it is not a detour from your development. It is the location where your development happens. The seventh habit is to control your circle. You become over time an average of the people you consistently time with. This is not a judgment of others. It is a recognition of the extraordinary power of environment on the human mind. Seneca was direct. Associate with those who will make a better person of you, not those who make you feel comfortable in exactly who you are right now. Growth requires friction. It requires proximity to people who are operating at a level that stretches you, who challenge your thinking, who do not let you settle. Look at the people who take up most of your time. Do they inspire you to demand more of yourself, or do they make it easier to accept less? You are not obligated to cut every relationship that does not serve your highest development. But you are responsible for understanding the direction each relationship is pulling you and for making conscious choices about how much access you give each person to your most valuable resource, your attention and your energy. The eighth habit is to practice voluntary discomfort. The Stoics did not wait for hard times to test their resilience. They created hard times deliberately in control so that when the uncontrolled difficulties arrived, and they always arrive, they were already prepared. Epictetus, who began his life as a slave and ended it as the most influential philosopher of his era, taught that a man who cannot be master of himself cannot be free regardless of what his external circumstances look like. The practice of voluntary discomfort, choosing the cold over the warmth, the harder path over the easier one, the meal that requires patience over the one that requires nothing, trains the nervous system in a fundamental truth. You are capable of more than comfort has taught you to believe. When you are not afraid of losing something, you cannot be controlled by the threat of losing it. Freedom begins in the body and in the daily practice of proving to yourself that you need less than you think. The ninth habit is to review your day every single night. This is perhaps the most underestimated practice in the Stoic tradition. Marcus Aurelius did not write the Meditations for publication. He wrote them for himself, a nightly accounting of his thoughts, his choices, his failures, and his intentions. Not to punish himself, not to spiral into regret, but to see himself clearly without the filters that pride and distraction place over honest self-examination. Each night before sleep, ask yourself 3 questions. Did I respond today to what was within my control and release what was not? Did my actions align with the values I claim to hold? Where did I fall short, and what specifically will I do differently tomorrow? This practice does not require a journal, though a journal makes it more powerful. It requires only honest silence and the willingness to be accountable to the only person who knows the full truth of your choices. No one gets better by accident. They get better by paying attention. The 10th habit, the final and most essential of all, is to commit to your purpose and work on it even when no one is watching, even when nothing is working, even when the gap between where you are and where you intend to be feels impossible. This is where most people fail, not from lack of talent, from lack of commitment on the days that feel meaningless, on the days when the effort produces no visible result, on the days when quitting feels not just tempting but rational. Marcus Aurelius wrote that a man's worth is no greater than the ambitions he holds, not the ambitions he announces, the ones he honors through daily action when the conditions are imperfect, which is to say, always. Purpose does not arrive as a revelation. It is not handed to you when you are finally ready. It is built, brick by brick, through every small action you take in the direction of who you are determined to become. You do not have to see the full path. You only have to take the next step today with full commitment. These are your 10 habits. Work on your mind every single day. Build physical discipline before the world demands your attention. Master your reactions. Cut what does not serve your growth. Move in silence. Embrace every obstacle as the material from which you build strength. Choose your circle with intention. Practice voluntary discomfort. Practice voluntary discomfort so that nothing can hold you hostage. Review your day with honesty every night and commit to your purpose even when, especially when, no one is watching and nothing seems to be working. Together, these habits do not simply change they change who you are. They rewire the relationship between your intentions and your actions. They close the gap between the version of you that exists right now and the version that you know, somewhere beneath the noise and the comfort and the delay, is possible. The Stoics did not believe in waiting for the right moment. They believed in making every moment a choice, a deliberate, conscious, courageous choice to be the kind of person the moment requires. You already know what needs to be done. You have known for longer than you would like to admit. The question has never been about information. It has always been about decision. Will you decide today? Not tomorrow, not when things settle, not when you feel ready, that the version of yourself who keeps choosing the small more time left. The path forward is not comfortable. It is not designed to be, but it is the only path that leads somewhere worth going. Begin now, one habit, one day, one choice at a time. The warrior you are capable of becoming is built in exactly this way. Not in grand gestures, but in the quiet, relentless accumulation of days when you chose to show up for yourself, even when every excuse in the world was available. Build yourself every single day, without apology, without an audience, without waiting.